viewers. I want to save my energy until we have the viewers. Till we do, I might go put the AC on now, although I could bring this with me. I feel like I'm going to want it on. I don't know. Yeah, it sounds like our dog's going to want something, so. And technically, we'll leave both together. So just a second. Sonny, how are you being? You've got everything you can ever want. And you've got us training, too. Congratulations. Okay. So this is part of just the kind of the I don't know, last night was great. There was retention, there was a couple of likes, and one person really did see the I guess I worded it as the resonance and the the love and the care and all and the importance of what I was doing. But when you see how many views it got, even if some of them were the same people coming in more than once for even more reason, the number don't add up. And, so we can't go by that. We can't. I want to make sure that I don't get it so that I can't get back to this one. I haven't looked at a lot of content today. Maybe I should have, because then I would have gotten, more ideas. I have a feeling X is going to be going live in about 10 minutes. I want to try and catch it before they get there. Just kidding. Although it's great, they can do a little bit of both, or a fair amount of both. So that was good. But for the most part, with things. But yeah, I don't have a lot of ideas in this. It's something that I felt worthwhile to do a video about. But and I've been wanting to do the daily video, at least try and do one for a couple hours, and ideas weren't coming, so eventually I just decided to roll. But and I got this base idea, but I not really sure kind of what else to say on it. I know that I have struggles with it as well, and I know that so do many other people. And I'm just kind of curious to hear about the viewers' experience with the topic. Because again, I think we all do go through it, and sometimes a lot. It varies, but and and it's one thing that I know is especially hard is when you are in limbo or waiting about something. You're waiting for an answer about something. You're waiting for something to come to transpire and come to be. By the way, I'm just gonna plug this in. That it can be hard to not think about it. It can be hard to not think about it. Or when you're waiting for resolve about something to kind of work out about something, or yeah, you know what I mean. Anywho, it can be very hard to not just spin the wheels and just keep thinking about it, because the brain wants a sense of control. The brain wants answers. The brain wants to the humans in general, and they like momentum. They like motion. They like it likes yeah, to just get what it wants and not have to wait too long for it, but sometimes you do, right? And so I'm just kind of curious people's thoughts about that. What is, do I need to repeat the title? Maybe not, because you clicked in, so 5 minutes in, but and then you went out. But I mean, it says it there, but I guess it's true that some people may just be going by, looks like an interesting fella, but I'm illiterate. Because some people do have that struggle. You know, some people don't really try. And I know that there are some people that have been through, like, that have some handicaps that seem to do, whether they use certain technology to do it or not, they seem to do pretty well. But no, there really are people that, like dyslexia or whatever. And I understand that. I understand that. So, what this video is about is, what how what is something or some things. I mean, I guess it'd be hard to comment then, unless you use some sort of program or have somebody help you do it. Um, but there's not a whole lot I can do about that. I mean, other than suggest that. I mean, you know, I guess it's true though that could be why some people maybe just come on just to listen, just to kind of absorb something helpful or entertaining on anyone's videos. And I can't believe I hadn't really thought of that before, or it's been a while. But yeah, basically, what is something that you are waiting for in your life? And it can certainly feel harder if you feel like you're putting in the effort, you have the desire, you're trying to be a good person, you're this, you're that, and it still is being slow to come to be. It can be very frustrating. Um, so, what is something in your life that you're dealing with um, in that way, and how do you cope? How do you manage the wait when sometimes there's nothing else that you can do except for wait? Or maybe, you know, it seems that way, but maybe it really truly is that way. So when all you have to do is just wait something out, how is that for you? I mean, obviously, and the person left right as I asked that, and maybe they've never seen me before, and they may have been thinking, obviously, frustrating, challenging, duh. No, I get that, but I mean, what does it really look like? And makes sense to put with that question, how do you um, manage to cope? I mean, it's possibly a bit easier for people that have busy lives, where they have lots of other things keeping them busy and active, and loved ones, and that. Um, but when you're going through a slow spurt, when you're going through um, a time of not as much activity going on in your life, and or not as much feeling connected as you maybe used to be, um, yeah, I know that it can be hard. Oh, that was quite funny. I know that it can lead to depression and hopelessness, of course. And so, yes, um, for all, all of us that relate, what are your thoughts? How do you do it? Because, some people will say, do one little thing a day. Welcome. Um, Sometimes it's so hard to define what those things would be. Not only is it so easy to get distracted, and sometimes it doesn't matter how much time you have in your day, free time. The real hard part can be defining them, figuring out the steps, figuring out the actions, and also I don't know if it would be to say how to guarantee success, or if it would be to say how to how to cope when things don't work out or aren't working out. Um, with your efforts. Um, you know, Again, because that can be very hard as well, right? I'm sure. And so, yeah, I'm just curious how people, and also people can weigh in who don't necessarily, who are struggling with it as well. Like, you don't have to have necessarily the answers. Um, but yeah, I'm just wondering. Um, and I bet it affects everyone differently, but I bet also in some similar ways. But yes, it does depend on your lifestyle and this and that. And there are some people I know, there are some people that wish that they had more time to get things done or do things to reach goals they've been putting aside or whatever. But I also know that sometimes it doesn't matter how much time you have. Again, if you don't know the actions to take, or you're struggling, you know, with them, um, and you may be dealing with other stuff too, it's I know, I'm sure it can be incredibly hard. So let's have some dialogue about that. And yeah, through it all, through the struggles, through the having to wait in eager anticipation, eager however you wish to define it. Um, let's, we can be there for each other, and that can make a big difference, I know, I'm sure. So, yeah, I was hoping for a bit of interactivity while live. Dog settled down nicely, so it's not distracting, making noises, trying to get my attention. Um, I, like I say, I imagine that Maxi's probably going to be going live soon, but I wanted to come and do at least one today. Sometimes I'm slow to get ideas, other times I'm not. But like I say, the title came to me, a little blurb underneath, and you know, um, it's interesting that in this topic, I also feel, just I'll quickly say, I also feel, and feel free to weigh in, that there are some things that, and I'm thinking of one particular person I know probably won't like to hear this, but there are some things that I feel, and we've talked about it, and it doesn't have to be made obvious here, but there are some things that I feel are maybe not worth waiting for anymore, that I don't feel are likely to happen. One, because for such a long time they haven't, whether, and my putting in the effort varies, but also because, well, like this thing about this dropping time, I mean, I'm not really sure where else to look, and I'm just so overwhelmed with all the things to consider and look at and process and this and that. But that would have been so easy if I'd just gotten the answer that I needed from, putting that letter up. And then, yes, maybe the place needed a lot of work. I wasn't going to mention it, but and I don't have a lot of pictures of the place, but I actually was thinking about it a little last night and a bit this morning. How, speaking about like a place getting work done to it, I'm so annoyed. My grandparents' place was so nice and cozy. Yes, a little bit not modern, uh, but not that vintage. And I mean, I guess it was a younger person that bought it, um, and they completely changed it. They like every. I mean, maybe a couple rooms they didn't. They like the one room that was a dining room. They made into a bedroom. with the new people. So that was just utilized as a different room. It's weird to not think of it as a dining room anymore, right? But my grandpa had done, I don't know if you'd call it wood paneling, but like a wood surround. And they had those little plug in heaters, and it looked a little bit like a fire pit kind of thing. And they had a couple of them, I think. And I can't remember if they had one of those in the living room, or I seem to remember it wasn't a working fireplace, but it was to look like a fireplace, and it was marble inside, and apparently my grandfather built it himself. These things matter to us. They didn't matter to the person who bought it. They just wanted to modernize it and spend a lot of money apparently. And if it's the guy that worked for the ballet, I mean, I guess it pays well. Maybe he did other things too, or maybe it was the one after him. And then I can understand. I feel like there was um, one room that had blue carpet, and I can understand that not being everybody's. But I think I remember. Well, I guess it had been 2 or 3 years. Well, no, I think it was in good condition. And then the basement was kind of had a theme to it, and it was huge. Um, and then the yard, looks very bare. So I'm just talking about my grandparents' old home, and that there's a video of it online, and yeah, it's totally different. Um, but back to the main topic, because I don't remember how I segued into that. Like I said, I had intended to possibly bring it up. I don't remember how I segued into it. I did. That's good enough. Um, Back to the main topic. Oh, because of that house, right? And it's kind of like nearby. It's kind of like maybe it needed a lot of work, but I don't know. And I did really all I could do, other than Miss Jenny, which And so yeah, that one, I guess it's still on my mind. I see it fairly often, but it's not looking very likely. And then the other thing, which hopefully will be a bit more likely, is this morning I did wake up to some potentially good news, and I hate to mention it until we know for sure. Of course, I'm hoping for the best. Has anybody, and the person that just tuned in and haven't been rolling super long, you might not be Canadian, so maybe you don't know this, or maybe you do know someone who's used it, or maybe you're Canadian, or maybe somebody else will know. Have you ever heard of CanadaStartups.org? Anywho, um, one thing that of course, I'd like this to transpire, and there was a couple things that made me uncertain, but I decided to message the person anyway. I might soon have a piano student. Um, and they're a comedian, so it could be a funny piano student. But hopefully that would go well. I mean, piano is a fairly easy instrument to learn. I mean, if you're doing classical music, then that's a bit more tricky. But the basics that you could take and do so many songs with. Oh, we got a heart. Cool. Oh, we got three people suddenly here too. It's pretty basic. So especially when they're an older student, and I don't have a lot of them. But the hope is always, if they don't need lessons for very long, maybe then we start a band now that they know how to play. Um, but the one person, I mean, there hasn't been a lot, like I say, because I'm just kind of starting up with the teaching. And, she'd gotten engaged, and she'd gotten engaged, and I'll adjust that in a moment. Short King, interesting name. First time on the channel, or just curious? Uh, she was a teacher, and she was dealing with a bunch of other stuff. But I don't know. I guess just hope for me that I get this student, because I need things to pick up a little bit. Tell me one business which is very on demand. Well, there's a lot of them, I guess. And by the way, the hearts are only showing during the live chat. The likes stick for afterwards, so don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't. There's a lot of them. I don't know. I mean, one business that is very on demand. I mean, uh, um, the culinary industry. I mean, with the pandemic, restaurants really suffered. Thanks for the hearts. Curious if it's your first time watching or on this channel. And remember the like button too. I appreciate it. Anyway, the culinary business, because people have to eat and don't sometimes want to cook. The travel industry, isn't what it used to be. Um, I would like to think the music industry, to be honest, and it is, but it's. I have videos a little bit about that. Um, Education, medical was kind of the first one I thought of. There's a lot. There's a lot. Unfortunately, music teaching isn't kind of one of them because so many people would just go to YouTube. What field of business do you work in or hope to work in? Interesting, the right hearts, by the way. They can just go to YouTube. However, that's not very individual based. I mean, I don't know. I don't recommend it because I and others like me are looking for people to teach and make an income. So um, photography. People still use photographers, but so many people just take pictures with their phones. You know, or video. Um, a lot of people prefer DJs over live bands. Um, a lot of people simply don't go to counseling. But yeah, yeah. What field do you work in? Assuming the person indicating is still here is you, hopefully. And your comment was on topic. Not that I mean, I sometimes fear. Okay, and now it's indicating that you're not here. Although sometimes that's inaccurate, but it's also and sometimes it seems to be accurate one moment and then not accurate the next moment. So I don't know if you're still here or not. If not, you left abruptly. You didn't answer a couple of my questions. I tried to answer yours. Um, and yeah. Oh, I've never noticed that before. Huh. Anyway, we do have somebody here. I'm going to probably wrap up soon. Um, but and I'm also going to go put on the AC because it is warm, stuffy in here. That's a good reason to do it, isn't it? Probably too early. I do maybe want to have lunch soon though, so I won't roll too much longer. And I also want to go upstairs shortly and do something, but that wouldn't take very long. But yeah, we got somebody here. Does the title of this video? I have a very short description. I hope it makes sense. Does it? Okay, never mind. Well, I mean, it got a couple comments. Like I say, it wasn't really engaging back and forth. Patiently waited as I, you know, answered, and I appreciate that. But I do. I don't mean to judge the question, but I do kind of feel like it was kind of a silly question because, as I showed, there was a lot of answers. Like there was a lot of things that it could cover. Like and I thought they were very obvious too. You know. Um, you know. I understand what's obvious to one might not be obvious to the others, but no, I thought that it was. Um, it's interesting though that I just realized something that had me list a bunch of fields, a bunch of occupations. Could I see myself working in them? Medical? No. Not that I think it's not important, because of course it is, but I couldn't see myself working in medical. Culinary? No. My high school days, I was a little bit more able to handle like a lot of like fast paced, noisy environments. I'm also, not necessarily a fancy cook. Um, I know I mentioned some that seem to struggle more these days, but some people seem to do all right with them. Um, I can't think of anybody in specific, but and sometimes having a vehicle and just uh, I don't know. It's just yeah. Um, um, Medical, culinary. Will that work at spas? Because everybody wants to go to spa. Um, there was two or three others that I listed, but I can't remember what they are. But they're all like, you know, things that would require a degree and getting a trade. For the most part, um, yeah. Except for the music ones, I would say. I mean, you can have natural ability and you can learn it in your life, and then once you know it, you can share what you know, and there's power in that, even if you don't know everything. But that's like a lot of things too, right? Anywho, I'm gonna wrap up. But yeah, bye for now, and don't be shy to comment on the stuff that's been said, the stuff that the mention in the title, which I mean, I slightly feel like got veered from. At the same time, employment has been something that kind of does fit with the title for me at times, and for many others, I'm sure. But it can mean so many things. So feel free to put what it means to you and how you manage navigating. Okay, take care.